Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to each and every one of you for joining us for yet another What's Up Wednesday, my weekly RV live Q&A show. We bring in some topics, including a big one tonight that happened 45 years ago yesterday, and that would be Elvis left the building forever. Although he's still in our hearts, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you're joining us for the first time, howdy. My name is Scott. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Go Small, Live Large, all about the camper van experience. Just a delight to have you here. If you are new to the program or you're new watching the replay, please type in NEW so we can call you out specifically. We have a lot of folks in here already today. We got a lot of regulars, which is just becoming a Wednesday thing for them now after 84 episodes, I think this is. Thank you again for making What's Up Wednesday part of your weekly routine. Let me kind of roll you through the program. We'll say hello to some of our regulars. And this is the show agenda tonight. We're going to talk about Elvis. It's a community discussion. I'm dying to get the stories on where you all were when you got the news. Libation Live is actually going to be meat on the plate. Let me give you a little sneak peek of that right there. Look at that, boys and girls. Ooh, that's going to be kind of exciting. You'll want to hear the story on that. And the movie of the week is, I'll give you a hot tip, is Elvis. Jeez. I'm so excited about that. Elvis Presley would have been, I think, 80. Let's see. Who could do the math for me quick? I meant to do this. He's like 87, I think. 80, 87, 88, something like that. He was born in 1933. So would it be crazy to see an 80-some-year-old Elvis Presley driving around in his restored Cadillac in modern traffic? Would anybody even recognize him? If you're in Vegas, you see this pretty regular, I'm pretty sure, with all the impersonators. And tonight, this is, again, a community discussion. Where were you when you heard the news of Elvis? Now, I was 12 years old back then, so I knew of him through my parents, but I didn't really know of him, so to speak. So we'll talk about that tonight. I got some Elvis indoctrination and how important he was when I traveled my road trip in 2015 in my sports car. So I'll share some of that stories with you as well. It's been a crazy week here. Here's our libation live. This is a summer sausage that, summer sausage. I'm looking at the label. We picked up in Oshkosh a couple weeks ago with from Sherry, give us a tour. And of course, it's all about your live Q&A tonight. So third year full-time travel in my camper van. Know a few things about that. Here's some topics. If, again, they're kind of new to the situation. Every one of these is top of mind for me right now, and I would love to share some experience, help you avoid some mistakes, and even talk about my new ladder and tire, if that's of interest to you. We love your recommendations. So here's the email address below. I've been getting a few from you, and I appreciate every one of those. So it's I'll zoom in here for you. So it's gslviewerrecommendation@gmail.com. If you have a guest tip, you have a tip you want to share with others, I'm adding those tips so we can share them out starting in September. I want to go back to that. We've taken a couple months off. And hey, if you want to make the jar jingle, I sure would appreciate you giving us a super chat or super sticker. That helps the channel keep rolling, and I just appreciate it. It also elevates your question or your comment so everybody gets to see it. And I will be sure to answer. That's the whole deal here. But it's just a delight to have you join us. If you go to my website, Go Small, Live Large, there's a whole bunch of information there you won't see on YouTube, and there's a form you can fill out to share a more in-depth story or question, something like that. And although I'm a little tardy, I'm fairly caught up, but just love to hear from you in that form as well. So you might be wondering, where in the world am I coming at you from? Can somebody please explain the spelling to me? I have no idea. Ypsilanti is the way I hear people saying it. This is out my cab window. We had a little storm cell go over this afternoon, and this is on a lake, little lake. I'm actually at a KOA campground, as I think a couple of you might be, because I've got some Volta duties tomorrow, so I'm kind of positioned for that. Here's where it is. Let me zoom in here for you. It's actually a pretty nice KOA, reasonably priced on this little lake. And it's pretty easy to get downtown Detroit. It's about a half hour. I'm going way up by Mount Clemens there. It's about an hour away in the morning. And that's what kind of brings me to the area. If you haven't been to Ann Arbor, that's a super charming town. And here's the weather. It's cooling down on everybody. Look at this. It's pretty amazing compared to even last week. So we are going to be in the 50s tonight, which is perfect RV weather. I'm not sure it hit 80 today, but the rain cooled things down. But things have gotten more pleasant temperature-wise across North America there. In the area, here's what gasoline prices are. It's about a 44-cent spread, which is kind of reasonable-ish. Normally, we've been seeing up to $1.25 spread within about a 5-mile radius. So it's about $3.89 a gallon for gasoline. And the housing prices are all over the place. I am not familiar with this area at all, but you can buy a house for like 150 grand all the way up to $1 million. I'm sure there's some big reasons for both of those, but that's what a house will cost you in the Ypsilanti area of Michigan. More importantly, where are you watching from? Always curious to know where you're coming at us from. And we got some regulars in here. So let's do a shout out. If you're new to the program from a different country other than the United States or Canada, please be sure and shout out your country. We've had a lot of countries across the globe represented. I'm trying to think if we ever had a country in Africa. I don't think so, but I think every other continent's been represented. Maybe South America, not so much. I'd have to think hard on that. Well, let's say hi to a few folks in here. So here's Donna. She's answering our question tonight, which is where were you when here at Elvis died? Apparently camping with parents in Colorado. So that's where you got the seed to go camping, huh? And drove in town for supplies. Saw a newspaper. If you're under like 25 years old, newspapers are things that used to be printed on a daily basis, and you held them in your hands, and your fingers got dirty from reading the newspaper. And so that's you saw the kiosk. Yeah, that had to be pretty shocking in that context for sure. So thank you for sharing that. Here we got Mesa Mike in the house tonight. Make it to Woo on time. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Mesa, Arizona, 364 at Costco. That's a pretty good buy. I spent 366 at a little town outside of Madison, Wisconsin, a couple weeks ago. It was 366. So I'm glad to see it's kind of coming down everywhere, which is great. Let's add a few more folks. Oh, hey, by the way, if you can help us out, if you can place three question marks, it helps me see your question or comment more readily, and then give it some visibility. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to give us a little tip and get a jingle on the jar, I sure would appreciate that. That's how you do that. Your support is very much appreciated. Though this is a huge day for Steve. He's been with us for quite a while. He's head to Elkhart, Indiana, RV capital of the world, and more importantly, headquarters to Embassy RV. He's going to go pick up his Dolphin over the next couple of days. I mean, this is Wednesday, so we've got to be either tomorrow or Friday. You have got to be so excited. So say hi to Terry and the gang. Stay in the parking lot the first night, and then stay at the RV Hall of Fame Museum. It's a Harvest Host site. Don't need to do anything, just show up and stay the night there. It's really a cool museum as well. So that would be my recommendation to you. Yeah, huge congrats. So here's Deborah sharing a story on Elvis. Was in the Philadelphia area, was in Ohio playing outside. My neighbors were sobbing. Turns out it was because they got in the news. It was shocking because Elvis was so young and beloved cross generations. And I think that's a really good point. I think that's why he's been so impactful. And I would say not even generations, but in addition to racial lines, he picked up a lot of his swagger, I'll call it, from black musicians, Beale Street, Memphis. Lived kind of in the projects back then with a lot of black folks, and he got his swagger, and he actually got in trouble because he kind of conveyed some of that, right? We'll talk about that. But yeah, just so young. He was 41 years old. Just think of how many of us have outlived Elvis Presley. Holy smokes, that's crazy. Here's Ron, upstate New York. Rich, good to see you, sir. At Harvest Host in Springfield, going to the State Fair. I've never been to the Illinois State Fair. That's got to be something to behold. Drive Route 66, sir, on any part of that trip down or back. Sharon saying here from Ohio, I was at work when I heard about his death. Yeah, I'd be curious to know what that was like. Did things come to a standstill? I remember when President Reagan got shot, I was in high school, and everything came to a standstill. We just all watched TV, not unlike 9/11. Remember that? Holy smokes. Let's see. So here's the Daves in the KOA. All right, love KOAs. Batesville, Indiana. Jane's in the house, and Byron, home base. Gilbert saying, I was 9 years old. We were with my grandma in Minneapolis on the way to some friends in her International Harvester. Remember those? Those things were cool. Um, they should bring those back. Super boxy, 9. Yeah, I was just a couple of 3 years older than you, sir. I'm sure the adults were just torn up. Probably some were very happy he was gone. Many folks thought he was a huge, um, I don't know, bad influence on the young Americans. It was so funny. So we got denim in the house, and we'll get into our huge topic here in just a minute. So stay tuned. So Sam's overcast 70 degrees in Winder, Georgia. Dale's in the house. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. 489, San Diego. Well, it's $5, I guess. Sherry's in the house. Sherry, you're gonna appreciate the libation live tonight, only because of you, Elvis Costello. Who's he? Let's see. Yeah, Elvis left the building forever, but he's still in our hearts and in our ears, and now our eyes. Um, let's see. A couple more folks. Timothy, we'll roll forward. Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for being here, sir. Watching from the Winnebago Rally Grounds, Forest City. Went on 2 factory tours and had all my warranty repairs addressed same day without appointment. Awesome job by Winnebago. That's kind of a Christmas miracle right here in August. No appointment, and you got everything done in a day. Good job. You're staying at the rally grounds. There's a cute little park downtown by a river. South Dakota. Love South Dakota. And that is actually, I'm going to write that down. It's another milestone for me. South Dakota. Because I think Elvis had something to do with why I'm sitting here talking to you tonight, working with Volta people in the morning. I'm pretty sure God works in mysterious ways. So Mason Mike says, when Elvis died, I was 11 years old in Oceanside, California, living near the Strand. Not familiar with what that is. In my second year of learning to surf. So something about a surfing beach, I'm guessing. Here's Ms. Zimmerman, Bourbonnais, Illinois. Hello, my old hometown, Kankakee. And here's Sherry, and she was 20, driving to my first day of work, first real job as occupational therapist assistant. They had those back then. That's pretty impressive. 1977, I suppose so, right? Thanks for sharing that. 20. First job. Remember your first job? Wow. Okay, Greg from Wheeling, Javier from Memphis, home of and still is everything Elvis. Pretty amazing. All right, let's roll forward. Thank you for that. I think I got a few more things to share with you. Yes, van events. I'm proud to say that 30 days from today, we're doing a channel roundup at the Hershey Rv Show. Let me zoom in here for you. If you're not doing anything and looking for a little stretch on the wheels and of the brain, join us, please. Hershey Rv Show, the 17th of September, 11 a.m. at the General RV Travado display. And these guys are pumped to have me. I've been chatting with them. And then following up just a few weeks later, we're headed to the Adventure Van Expo. It's in Chattanooga. We're going to be at the Rover Vans booth. That's the outfit that installed my new ladder and tire carrier. So we're going to hang out with him, 11 a.m. And Chattanooga, in case you're wondering, from Chicago is not that far away. I did the math. Let's see if it still pulls up. Yes. So it is anywhere, depending on how you drive, about 9 hours to about, what am I going to show? Not really. 11 hours if you take the back road to Chattanooga from Chicago. And by the way, you got to go through Louisville or you got to go through Nashville, maybe make a round trip, and you can see some amazing history right there just coming to see in Chattanooga, an Adventure Van Expo. I'm really excited about that. And some of you are already planning that, and I am super pumped for you. If you need an excuse to get out of town, any excuse will do, right? Upcoming guests, and then let's dig into to Elvis. So upcoming guests, we've mentioned this before. We have the CEO of Harvest House coming on in just a few weeks, September 7th. I'm really excited about that. Volta, Jack is going to come on, co-founder of Volta Power Systems, and talk lithium in depth. So get your geek hats on. He gets deep into the subject, as you know, October 12th. And working on these, and still working on Wingham. I was hoping to meet with them today, and that did not pan out. So they're still in the work. So working hard for you, and that's the way we like to roll here. And hey, by the way, if you have a suggestion, I've got a few from you. Love to hear from you on who might be a good guest to be on the show that you would love to learn from. So let us know on that. There's the email address again for you. All right, so let's look for some questions here in just a moment. And because that's what this is about here is Q&A. Let me see if we have some questions and we'll hit the Elvis. Let's see, I think Javier had one here. Javier, thank you for the question. Thank you for using the format. Hey, Scott, I have a question. Can you add some power failure lights in your RV? Add some power failure lights in your RV. Not sure what you mean. I mean, I have flashlights. I have my battery-operated puck lights that are stuck around the van, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean by power failure light. So if you can clarify, that would be helpful. I'd be curious what you want to know there. Let's say a few more folks here. So Debbie's in the house. Here's Mary in the house. Here's Randy talking about he was 14 and was riding in the car with my parents, passing Six Flags in Arlington, Texas, driven by that himself several times, when I heard it on the radio. Yeah, and what was the feelings, Randy? 14, you're probably old enough to really get a grasp. So let me know what you really thought. What were their thoughts? And if you think about it, in the car back then, you only had like radio, 1977, right? 8-track, and radio was it. FM was probably still a coming on thing, AM for sure, but so that's very cool there. So here's Matt watching from Minnesota. My return trip from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska. Holy cow, to Pennsylvania. That is a large trip, sir. That's impressive. So let's shift gears here just a tad. Let me bring Elvis up here for us. So, Tim is saying, as the locals call it, it was founded by a Greek Demetrius Ypsilantis. So Ypsilanti, a little easier on the tongue, and Ypsi is way easier still. I appreciate you saying that. So, let's see. Here's a question from Jack before we get into Elvis. So, I watched your piece on your spare tire. Can you still pop out the back door in case of an emergency? Yes, the bike rack swings away from the if you're standing, I guess, on the inside from the left, that door will open, and then the tire door will open as well. So yeah, no worries there. And I would say even it's more easy if you had to break the glass where the ladder is, because the other ladder was over further and all the rungs, so you could not escape out of that window with broken glass. This one, now you can actually do it. I'm really kind of amazed at how the visibility is so much improved. I'm looking at the back of the van with this new ladder. All right, let's talk Elvis. I'm just dying to get some of your your feedback here. So let's see. So again, this is a community discussion where we're all going to be chatting in the chat and me just kind of reading and bantering back and forth. So that's what this is. So again, the question is, where were you when you heard the news of Elvis's death, August 16, 1977? So Frank says, I remember when Kennedy was killed, but I guess Elvis didn't make the same impression. Interesting. Okay. Here's T saying, she was 7 years old when Elvis died. It was with my aunt who was planning on taking us to see him. Sadness, yeah. Talking with my parents, I really need to ask my dad again. Maybe I'll call him tonight after this. They weren't huge fans, but they were certainly aware of him. And I think the way Mom explained it is it felt like the world stood still and the earth just stopped turning because, again, almost like a 9/11 moment. It's probably one of the bigger ones in recent memory. The world seemed to stop turning for a period of time, and everybody kind of got their bearings about him. So, Here's a poignant question from Jack. Have you ever been to Graceland? I would recommend, even if not a fan. Yes, we're going to talk about that, Jack, in just a moment. It was super eye-opening to me. Yeah, here's some good ones here from Sparks Guy. Where were you when Janice, Jimi Hendrix, John, see the Beatle guy, George, I don't know, George, Kurt Cobain, George. That's a good trivia question. Every generation has their own Elvis. Yeah, I would agree with you for sure. I just think he was kind of the first one that just really shifted gears and shifted thinking, shifted rhythm, shifted a whole lot of stuff, and many firsts, which I was not aware of. To Jack's point, we're going to share that story. George Michael's, I hear you talking about there. He was pretty instrumental in my growing up. Kurt Cobain, not so much. Janis, Jimmy, John, not so much. I'd say on that list, Sparks Guy, George Michael was pretty. That was just a few Christmases ago, and I'd say Prince, who died just a few years ago, I think in December as well, having toured his Paisley Park, didn't realize what an impact he made and how little he was, but what a big, bold statement he made on the music front. Thank you, Sparks Guy, for that trivia quiz. Holy cow. So here's Sharon. Let's see. She was in California at work at McClellan Air Force Base. Nothing changed in the workday. People just mentioned it and nothing else. And I guess there's just duties to do. Steve wasn't born yet, but I did visit Graceland about a week ago. Really? Oh, that's a fresh memory for you, sir. Let's see. I have. So Steve said, I don't remember much when Elvis died, but I was really enthralled with the tributes that rolled out, especially the one that TV hosted by Anne Margaret. You were 22 at the time. Anne Margaret, somebody help me with that. That's a name I'm not overly familiar with. All right, so let me share a few tidbits on my story. I think you'll find this interesting. So this is from Wikipedia. This is the first paragraph. Excuse me. Dubbed King of Rock and Roll, let me zoom in so you can read it. Regarded as one of the most significant cultural figures of the 20th century. Energized interpretations of songs, sexually provocative performance style, combined with a singularly potent mix of influence across color lines during a transformative era in race relations, led him to both great success and initial controversy. And those were things I was actually not really aware of. How explosive he was on the scene. And this is, let me zoom in here for you. So the first picture on the left is his promo picture from Sun Records. That's where he was sort of discovered. And he worked with them for a number of releases. And the image on the right is his first release with RCA, which is a big nationwide distribution and a very iconic Screaming Elvis with his guitar, which became obviously very iconic as well. And again, kind of the topic of the night, where were you when you heard the news? And then what I want to share with you is travel seeds got planted in my brain from a trip I took in 2015. I want to share that story with you because it does take us to Graceland. And we talk about this a lot on this channel. Why do you want to travel? And I think this is a really good moment to kind of pause and think about why do you want to travel? Because I think a lot of people rush out and buy an RV, buy a van, without really thinking why, which then leads to how, which leads to what should you buy. I think people get a little excited and before this. And what I'm going to do is just share a few stories with you really fast. And I'm curious if this strikes a chord with you. So I used to worked for Apple for almost 11 years, and I quit in the end of 2013, went for a small app development firm, was there for a couple of years, and was really kind of unhappy with just everything in general. So I got in my sports car. Let me zoom in here for you. What it was, I don't even remember the year, 2014, maybe 2015, Hyundai Genesis Coupe, stick shift, 6-cylinder, about 300 horsepower engine, rear-wheel drive. So much fun, that car. I miss that car greatly. But I literally just got in my car, told Kyle, I'm taking a road trip. I'm not sure when I'll be back. I just want to get away from everything. So here I am. The sports car is at Laguna Seca, and I did a track day driving that car at Laguna Seca. If we rewind that a little bit, I discovered that I could do a track day at Laguna Seca in South Dakota. I was in um, the Rapid City there, one of my favorite towns. And I was, for some reason, just thinking about this in one of those awesome saloons. And I'm like, I have my car, I've got time, I've got a few dollars in my pocket. Let's make that an endpoint to drive my car on Laguna Seca racetrack, super famous racetrack, one of the scariest I've ever driven. I drove quite a few racetracks. On the way, past Meteor Crater. And Meteor Crater sticks out in my mind because I was kind of initially underwhelmed as I drove up. And then I was like, it starts to sink in, right? And when I was leaving and just pulling in all this knowledge that 50 some thousand years ago, this meteorite hit the earth and made this huge, almost perfectly preserved meteor that I was climbing around the rim on. That was me back in 2015, by the way. Haven't aged too much, right? When I was leaving, there was a couple in an RV, retired couple. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're retired. We're just traveling around, looking at cool things because we just want to experience America. We want to see things, do things, taste things. And by putting that little bit of bits together, I started to, I think, solidify my desire to travel by road. And that was a huge chunk of it. Now, on my way home, back up to Chicagoland, I stopped at Graceland because I was going through Memphis, headed up to Chicago. And again, knew of, but didn't know much about. And let me zoom in here for you. And so I am standing out front of Graceland, the house. Um, the U.S. Postal Service released a stamp. So I'm like, who's the better looking guy? Well, right. You were able to take pictures inside the house. I was pretty shocked. This was down in the basement. I was amazed at how small the house was. You went down in the basement, and there was this bar area, the bars with the three stools. And turned to the left, this is where this huge couch was. Opposite that wall with the kind of lightning bolt was three television sets. He was really well known for watching three TVs at once. And I was just mesmerized by this room, and the billiard room was directly across the hallway. Up on the main floor was, I think they called it the jungle room. This was his living room. And it was so cool. It was so different. It was so, standing in the space where Elvis hung out, literally. It was really starting to soak in until you actually leave the property and you go down through a little walkway, and then you start to see literally rooms filled with all of his records, his awards, his costumes, reading how generous he was, reading how influential he was. And it really started to sink into me how one person, it takes a team in this case too, but nonetheless, takes the impact one person can have on even another person or others at large or an entire industry, music or race relations. I mean, you pick it. This guy was so pivotal for so many reasons. And it really started to sink into me as I went through the property. And there's a museum with many of his cars. And then there's the Lisa Marie plane that you can actually walk through and see where he hung out in his airplane. I couldn't believe it. And when you're coming out of the house, before you exit the grounds, there's kind of the memorial garden, and he's buried next to his mom and dad. And I was pretty overwhelmed at this point because it was really starting to soak in that this is why I travel. This is why I wanted to travel. And so I think between the Meteor Crater, driving to a point on the road to do Laguna Seca, I think it's about that in Rapid City, North Dakota. And then up here, it was really just the last couple days before I ended my road trip, and then I had to go find a job. I think planned the seeds for me to travel by road. I had no clue about RVs. I had no clue about vans. And I just look at these pictures. That was really a memory um, um, jog for me. Because I actually thought I had traveled there in my Travado, and I had not. It took me back to 2015 when I was there in my sports car. So it really was pointed to me, and we talk about here a lot. Why do you want to travel? And there's a lot of chatter in the community at large, in the RV community, that RVing's done, vans are done, van channels are falling by the wayside. Everybody's buying a house. I'm not going to see what the future holds for me. We have a few houses, but my curiosity for why do I want to travel in a van has never been stronger. And in fact, when I roll out of Chattanooga back from our European cruise, I'm going to go park the Travado at the RV ground, and you can walk across Graceland. And I'm going to hang out with Elvis for a couple of days. I am so excited. Do Beale Street, because now I know so much more than I did. It's going to be even more intense for me. It's $52 to have full hookups. Let me zoom in here for you. I'm not expecting amazing. I'm expecting not expecting an amazing RV park. I am expecting an amazing 48 hours of Elvis and his spirit there at Graceland. So I'm just curious. Again, why do you travel? Because if you haven't really identified why, you might be buying the wrong rig. I travel to go explore places, history, small towns, historic districts. I have almost zero interest in hanging out in the woods for 2 weeks by myself with the moose and the bears. You're very different. I know the Russos, they like to hang out with the moose and the bears. But if you really haven't identified your way, I would encourage you to do so. Because when I got my rig, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I would almost not really relive, but recapture that road trip that was about 2 months long through great parts of the country. So hopefully that helped you a little bit. I just love these kind of memory nights. We did Mount St. Helens a couple of um, back in May, right? May 18th. And just like share my personal story with you and how it connects to the RV community and how one little guy like me has influenced some of you to do some pretty crazy things in your life. And Elvis influenced a lot of people to do some crazy things. And let's talk about that here together tonight. So let's see. Not Elvis, Mike. Rig is a no-go with me since it eliminates carrying two mountain bikes, which is a must for me unless they're working on another option, bike rack. So stay tuned. They don't have it out yet. There's one coming, so stand by for that, Mike. So this is Heather talking about Elvis. I was born in '78, so just missed him by a year. But I do enjoy his music and visited Graceland about 10 years ago. So wondering, Heather, if you're having any flashbacks to those pictures I showed when I visited. Ron, this is a great point. Have you ever been to Tupelo, Mississippi, where Elvis was born? No, I'm going. It's an amazing place to go along with Graceland. So if you've been around my channel at all, you know that the thing I love to do most is to share, but creating those videos is laborious and they are not well performed. But we're going to revisit this because I got some really big camper van travel guides, so we got that coming your way here in just the next couple of weeks. And I'm thinking of doing some really great things like follow Elvis in Tupelo, Mississippi, and Memphis, and maybe some of this, and then bourbon trails and blah blah. So I'm excited to see Tupelo, Graceland visit. Holy cow! Crowd was not very crowded. That's good to know. Tickets for the mansion tour on the planes are $80. I can't remember what I paid. Maybe 50 or $60. Still worth it, right? Oh, this is cool. Thanks, Steve. Anne Margaret was in a few of his movies. Very sexy singer actress linked to Elvis romantically. Oh, that's cool. Glad to know that. And here's Mesa Mike. Hey, Scott, you see the new Elvis movie? Pretty good. Tom Hanks played Colonel Parker. It was kind of a disjointed storyline, still worthy to watch. I have seen it. I have bought it. I've downloaded it to my iPad. I've probably watched it 10 times in the last week. And the guy, Austin Barber, that played Elvis, did an amazing job. I think they hired him for his ability to pout with those lips. Elvis had really specific lips and blue eyes, of course. The rest is kind of makeup, but and Tom Hanks did a pretty good job. If you haven't seen that, please see that. Mary Go Round saying, did a movie with him. He was hot, she was hot, beautiful couple. I gotta look her up after this. I'm not familiar with. We're gonna do Libation Live here in just a moment. Yeah, Jack's got a great point here. Elvis deserves huge credit for serving in the Army when he could have dodged the draft. And he was actually kind of like an Army guy. He wasn't like an entertainer in the Army, right? Now, I don't know in the new movie Elvis that Baz Thurman, Baz, that's his first name, the director, he also did Moulin Rouge. I love his style. I'm not sure in the movie, maybe you guys can help me, if it's accurate that Colonel Parker kind of got him out of trouble with all the race and the sexualization and put him in the Army to get him out of the country. I don't know if that's true. That was kind of implied in the movie. Maybe somebody knows the background there. Oh, this is great, Sherry. And Margaret was Elvis's co-star in Viva Las Vegas, and knew her on the movie screen, which launched her long career. That is really good to know. I would love to get some Elvis movies. They're a little cheeky, for sure, but yeah, I think it's really great. There's been a number of famous people over the years. The one that really hit me was in Afghanistan. There was the famous football guy that was killed on the field. Probably could have figured out many ways not to actually serve, but oh, Donna had the same Genesis. I had such a great time with that car. I actually sold it, I think, because of Vanlife to get the Travado. I think that's why I did that. Look at Gilbert. You are a stud and a scholar, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. That goes a long ways toward my varying habits. Well, I actually paid for my movie Elvis. That's why I paid to download and buy that movie. I buy movies that I can watch dozens of times and never tire. Elvis is one of them. So thank you, Gilbert. Get a jingle in the jar for that. I really appreciate that, sir. Okay, somebody will have to help me with this. Scott Conspiration, like Mark Collin. Help me with that. Not sure what that is. What? Gasoline 279 Giant Eagle and Powell? Columbus, Ohio? Is that where that is? I am rushing to Columbus, Ohio to buy gas for two. That's amazing. It is working, folks. Steve's in his driveway. This is great. Hey, any place you are in your van having fun is okay by me. All right, let's shift gears just a tad. I want to share a Libation Live. We did our first ever non-boozy one a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to, share this with you because there's no way I would have my chops on this if it wasn't for Sherry inviting us to stay in her driveway. So Libation Live tonight comes by courtesy of Sherry because she took us to the Oshkosh Farmers Market. So I prepared this delicious display. Let me get this on screen. This is going to be tricky. Of summer sausage. And you got to have a little cheese and tomatoes. I'm not eating crackers much anymore, so that's what I got. And I had to have a little sample. And it's really good. It's really lean. You want to know what it's made from? I knew you would. It's kind of given away here on the slide. Let me zoom in for you. And it's made from Texas Longhorn beef. I'm not kidding. And Texas Longhorns have a long history. And in fact, if you're in the stockyards in Fort Worth, middle of October, they're having a Longhorn measuring contest. I am not kidding you. If I wasn't having to be on a cruise I would be going. We'd be doing a channel roundup in stockyards to measure horns. It'd be so much fun. This is the outfit that has a booth at the Oshkosh Farmers Market. Sherry, you can help us out here. Alf's Longhorn Acres is the name of it. And somebody, this is on his Facebook page. This is how you can get a hold of them. They don't have a web page. I love the chalk drawing here on the sign. Take your kids to a farm so they don't think food comes in a box. Apparently stated by Willie Nelson. And I thought that was pretty hysterical. So what I want to do with you is let's just have a little bite of this. And again, it's looking at the label. Beef summer sausage. This is $18 a pound. It's 1.3 pounds, so that chunk of meat is $25. But it's really good. It's really lean. If you ever had bison before, how am I going to do this and not make a mess? I'm just going to turn this so you guys can see it. Let me get off screen here. And if you ever had bison, I would say that it kind of reminds me of that. This might actually be a little better now. It's a little crumbly because it's so lean. But it's the texture is just really, really lovely. It's really good. Most sausages, summer sausage stuff, it's so greasy, it coats your tongue, so you taste the fat, not the meat or the spices. That's not the case. You get a napkin. Now, in honor of Texas Longhorn meat, you got to put down a little Shiner Bock. So cheers, everybody, for Libation Live. Thanks for joining me. Crazy program tonight. It's just so delightful. And a big cheers to Elvis. He wasn't a big drinker, but cheers to Elvis, man. What a guy. That was really good. And then you can compete with a little pepper jack. What do you think of my spread? Kind of cool, right? We've done these at a few campouts, and I love this kind of stuff. Why not entertain from the van? Excuse me. All right, let's look for some more Elvis stuff. I'm just loving all this. Hope you're having fun. Nice group tonight, as always. I just love this. So Sparks Guy, a quote from Muhammad Ali: Elvis Presley is the most humble, the nicest man you'd ever want to know. If you haven't seen I would, and he would know, right? If you've not seen the PBS special on Muhammad Ali, they're again a hugely influential guy. And when I get back to Louisville, I'm going to visit his grave. We're going to make a big deal about that because I had no clue how he was, Muhammad Ali, as a boxer throughout his life, and it just takes one to make a whole ripple effect, hopefully for the betterment of us all. He's saying, "Camp with my family every summer. I still live in South Dakota. My fondest memories during this time by far. The outdoors are calling my name again. So why do you want an RV? Get out in the outdoors. Look at Mason Mike. Look at this. Woo! Thank you, sir. A gallon of gas. Yeah, I'm not spending $5 for a cup of coffee. I'm too busy making it my vein. Nutrition and workout program is still going swimmingly. I have not topped 169 since I hit 165. So 165 seems to be about right. I am sad that I pulled a little tiny muscle here, so it's really been hampering some of the arm, chest workouts. I'm trying to let it rest. I went today for the first time in about a week, and it is better. Sadly, I pulled a back muscle in my lower back that's been a weightlifting accident from, I don't even know, 2015. And that's been a real problem. Getting old is not awesome sometimes, but still doing really great. I'm really proud of myself. Thank you for asking, sir. This is interesting. Oh, yes, thank you. Pat Tillman, that's right. Wow, you guys are. I'm thinking about well, anyway, playing a game. I found an online thing. We can have some trivia. That'd be kind of interesting, right? Cardinals safety, Pat Tillman. Yes, he died in Afghanistan in active service. So, hats off to that gentleman and everybody that gave the ultimate to help us be free and keep the world mostly in order. So Merry Go Round says, Flaming Star is his best movie. Elvis wanted to be a serious actor, but the Colonel controlled him. So after Flaming Star, all he did was musicals. And his fans want to see him sing, probably, not pretend to be a cowboy or an airplane pilot. And it's hard when you're so famous to start with, and it's like William Shatner will always be Captain Kirk. Leonard Nimoy will always be Spock, no matter what they try otherwise. It's pretty amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Walking in Memphis, sung by Mark Cohen. Thank you. And here's the why. Frank and Sharon, I've always loved traveling across many countries, but now is the time to explore the U.S. since air travel is much more hassle and less, actually no fun. I would agree. I have to be on an international flight next month or in October. I am so not looking forward to it. This is interesting. Spark Sky. Google Andy Kaufman, Elvis impersonation on Johnny Carson. Brilliant. Yeah, it's just, and for those of you that have been to Las Vegas and at the Fremont experience, which is the old downtown, which I way prefer to be in, um, there is always an Elvis impersonator up on stage. They have a number of stages there on that street, and I get goosebumps by listening and watching and keeping the dream alive. It's so great. Scott has a grazing board. It is a bit of a grazing board tonight. Should I have another bite? Let's try cheese. That's going to be dinner. Summer sausages and a shiner. That'd be good work day for me. Um, so here's Sherry talking about the summer sausage. Aft Longhorn Acres, they call it. That man raises longhorns in Wisconsin and loved his little plastic longhorns on display. And he has jerky and sausage. And there is in the summer and winter market. Yeah. So again, thanks to you, Sherry, dragging us, kicking and screaming with excitement. Actually, we had a great time at the summer at the Oshkosh Saturday Market downtown. So much fun. That's where I got introduced to kombucha, something like that. Um, yeah, bison's kind of interesting. Bison hamburger, hard to find. I would say it's way even more lean than this. I think I prefer this. I've never seen Texas Longhorn meat anywhere, but bison is really good if it's not overcooked. The couple times I've had it, one was done well. The other two or three times not well. It was like a shoe heel. It was a lot of people like to overcook things. Sherry, yes. Oshkosh Farmers Market, great farmers market. Gilbert wants to know, what is the birthplace or home of a famous person you'd like to visit? I would say I'll kind of put it back on you all. What would you want to put on your map? I'm going to say, I've been thinking about this for a long time. I keep talking about it. There goes my back. The I think famous people from country music. So Hank Williams would be amazing. I'd love to see Willie before he goes. Um, Although he's getting up there, I think he was born in 1933, so he's 89 years old. I saw a news article on him today. Still playing music, sitting down. Opens his concerts with Whiskey River. What's not to like about that? I think, yeah, Hank Williams. I think Johnny Cash would be really interesting. Um, just anybody in the country music business, I think, um, that was kind of a big star, or maybe not. Love to see Dolly Parton perform. They're just so getting up there in their age, and just I kick myself. And remember when Johnny Cash died? I'll never forget. I made a list of a few folks that musical folks that were influential on me. Freddie Mercury died in 1991. I remember where I was. Thank you for that question, Gilbert. When he died, Johnny Cash died in September 2003. I'll never forget the day we had just moved to Chicago from Seattle, and I was downtown Chicago in my car, driving under the their elevated subway, and I was on Wabash, turning onto Wabash, and the news came on that Johnny Cash had died. So September 2003, I'll never forget that day. Then I had a rampage with Johnny Cash music for the next 3 months. That's usually what happens. So I got to get to see Willie Nelson somehow. I will kick myself forever not seeing him when I have the chance. How are we doing on time? A few more minutes. So let me share the song of the week for us. Are you guys having fun tonight? This is kind of a goofy. I'm having fun, and if you're having fun, that matters. It's all about Elvis tonight. 45 years and one day ago, things shifted. They shifted when he sang his first song. You ready for this? Let's go with the first big ones. Let me zoom in here for you. Anybody want to know what it is? That's all right. So here's my recommendation. So That's All Right. It was released in July 1954. Very influential. It was the first one on. Well, that's not true. It was released in 1954 on Sun Records. If you are a subscriber to Apple Music, I discovered this, as I love to do on Apple Music, because they play, they give you songs. There is actually a Sun Records Essentials playlist, and that's what's in the bottom of the corner. So if you're an Apple Music subscriber, um, please go to that, and you'll hear many of the songs that Elvis made even more famous than the original artist did. I was stunned. There's probably 50 songs on that, and all the songs that Sun Records, which helped discover and promote Elvis, came out of that label. And That's All Right was released in 1954. In 2003, Rolling Stone magazine said that that was the first, well, they made the point, argued the point, that was the first real rock and roll song. And I've been playing this playlist because there's a few that just don't hit my ears quite right, but uh, most of those songs are just, they're so amazing. It's such great old music. And we were talking about this earlier, movies. Yeah, if you haven't seen the movie Elvis 2022 version, Baz Thurman is that's anyway. It's so you can buy it tonight on Apple TV, the app or the hardware, I guess, either one, and sit and watch. It's 2.5 hours, and it will blow you away. It blew me away, and Tom Hanks did a great job as the Colonel, and Austin Butler did an amazing job as Elvis. Can you imagine trying to play Elvis? Um, it's really just a beautiful. And if you saw Moulin Rouge, Baz does a very stylistic way of doing things. It's very signature of him to do that, and I would heavily encourage you to watch the show for the next 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, 4 minutes we got left, and then go see this tonight. Because if you haven't seen it, you're going to thank me for encouraging you to see it, or go see it in the theater if you want to do that. Okay, a few more questions. So Mason Mike says Elvis did a cowboy movie called Stay Away Joe. It was filmed in Sedona. No way. There's a plaque on there, one of the main movie locations. Good to know. When I was in Sedona, I did not notice that. We'll have to put that on the list. I love Sedona. Such a great place. Thank you for sharing that. He did a cowboy movie. This stuff's hard to find on, I don't know why. Like Apple TV, they're hard to find. There was an interesting thing too. I did some research, just kind of show prep for tonight. Is Elvis was instrumental in getting the Arizona Memorial really bankrolled. They came up with the design, and they did some fundraising. The greater they over there in Hawaii, and Elvis really put some steam behind it and really helped make that thing financially successful. They could build a memorial. So just a great guy. If you go through the museum, you can see he's at will write checks to people. Well, that's interesting. Come see John Wayne's house in Winterset, Iowa. John Wayne came from Iowa? What? Yeah, he'd be great. He was hugely influential, right? Um, and Matthew's saying you can see the Field of Dreams on the way, and of course the covered bridges. So lots to see in Iowa besides the Winnebago factory, which is great. So Mason Mike saying, I want to go back to Oceanside and see the Top Gun house. They moved it closer to the beach and made it a pastry and coffee shop. No way. That'd be fun. Is that where, what's her name and Tom are doing their thing to that awesome Berlin song? I suppose, right? What a great movie. I have not yet seen the Top Gun Maverick because it's not in theaters that I've searched for lately, and it's on the pre-order list. I don't know why it's taking forever. That's a good question. Anybody know this? Did Elvis ever perform at Austin City Limits? I don't think so, because it probably didn't start. Willie Nelson kind of got that going, right? I think it was in the 70s, but he may have been in Vegas still stuck. So April saying, I want to travel to cities. Used to do hotels after COVID. Hotel value plummeted. Now I have my 5-star hotel bathroom. She has got a Travato like mine. She's got it tricked out, and she's a feisty lady. April. I like how you roll. Small towns. Me too. All right, this might be it for the night. Let's see. Woo show ideas. Maybe more van life people and their stories live and interactive conversation with viewers. Yeah, we've done those in the past, April. I would love to do that. If you are willing to be one of those and tell us your van stories, we'd love to have you on as a guest for 15, 20 minutes and kind of sharing your story. This certainly isn't all about me, and I love that idea. Donna's been on. Jane and Roger. So several have been on. So I love that idea. If you can just, you and I chit chat fairly regular. So we'll find a date and we'll do that. All you need is a good internet connection. And we'll do a quick outline. But I love that idea. The van tours by owners, such as the Ethos 20A by Rich. In many ways, form of van tours I do with myself or just a dealer rep, because people want to see what the owners are doing in them. So, yeah, well, I have the thank you, April, for that suggestion. Gilbert wants to know, why have you not seen Maverick? So it came out on the big screen so fast and it was replaced right away. I was so annoyed in the town that I was in. Timing just didn't work out. I do have it on pre-order from Apple TV, so I will get it. Maybe I should try and see if I can see it in the big show. That would really need to be seen, I think, on the big screen, right? So I think with that, let me just scan for some more questions quick. Hey, if you're having fun tonight, it's kind of a funky show. Give us a thumb up, appreciate that. And let me just scan one more time. I think we got all the questions tonight. Normally I miss a few, and I apologize for that. It was just great to really share, get your sharing back on your thoughts and on Elvis. It's and where we were, but really every day can be a milestone, right? Every day you can make an impression on somebody. Every day doesn't need to be this zenith thing. Every day is really kind of precious, and I remind myself of that on a daily basis. But each and every one of you really help drive me forward and keep working so hard to just help others understand, influence, maybe demystify, work on the why, a little bit on the how. And I'm just really excited for our upcoming roundups to see y'all in person. And we have more of those planned. And lots more videos. I'm working really hard on the videos, really hard on travel stuff. So I'm just to me, it feels like I'm just getting started, and you make each day really special for me. So just a big thank you, and a big cheers for Elvis for making some amazing music, some amazing memories. And 55 years and one day after he left the building, we're still talking about him. So that's pretty amazing. Legacy, boys and girls. What is your legacy? I think you're going to be my legacy, to be honest. And I'm perfectly fine with that. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Another What's Up Wednesday in the can. We'll see you next week. New video on Sunday. We got a van tour, I think, coming up. I got to get busy. All right. Night, everybody. Thank you very much.